Resident Evil Requiem was my most anticipated game of this year, and with the release date of February 27, you think I would already have played this game. Yeah, I just got around to playing this game. With my wife's and I wedding that we had to attend, because I know it's like our wedding or something, I don't know. And moving houses, as you can see, it's a little bit of a different background than my last video. I just simply didn't have time. So the fact that I was able to play this the last couple weeks because of my local library, I was absolutely pumped to play this game. I finally got around to be able to play RE9 with very minimal spoilers. Ooh. Whoa, you know this guy's about to talk about spoilers for the next like 10 minutes, right? Yeah, if you haven't played the game, I'd do that before watching this review. No, go ahead, it's fine. I've got time, I'll wait. Oh, you're still here. Oh, well, if you don't care about spoilers, go ahead and watch the rest of the review. I guess he's just about to ramble, but you do you. Resident Evil is probably one of my favorite universes. Universe? Is it a universe? Is it a series? Whatever you want to call it. Resident Evil is probably one of my most anticipated franchises, just by the pure number of games they have that are phenomenal to play. Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 Remake. They're all phenomenal games. So to say I was excited to play this is an absolute understatement. Before you even start the game, and you just boot into it, Resident Evil Requiem allows you to change the camera perspective. For example, if you want to play Leon in first person, which I don't exactly know why you would. I mean, why would you want to? If you wanted to play Leon in first person, you could. If you wanted to play as Grace Ashcroft in third person, if you really wanted to, you could. But it kind of recommends you do the default. Now, I played this game on the Switch too, because simply that's what was available to me. But honestly, it doesn't look that bad on this device. It was able to handle the rain and the busy streets in the first portion of the game, and I don't remember seeing any pop-ups. Besides this weird looking like tofu thing halfway through the game, I have no idea what this is about, and I'm sure I just don't know the reference, but like, what is that thing? I remember walking through the streets during that first section and seeing the rain, seeing the busy people, seeing all the cars go by, and I was thinking, wow, this is on the Switch too. That's pretty incredible for really a handheld device. And no, before you ask, it's probably not as good as the PS5. Actually, for a fact, it's not as good as the PS5. But the fact that it's on a Switch too, it looks pretty incredible. After playing through Resident Evil 9, I went back to the PS5 and played Resident Evil 4 until everybody went to bingo.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
And I was curious, if I put both the gameplays side by side, would you be able to tell which one was PS5 and which one was Switch 2? The answer is, yeah, you probably could tell the difference between the two. But the fact that they look so similar is pretty cool. One place that stuck out to me that you could definitely tell, okay, this is Switch 2, is through the mirrors as Grace Ashcroft. You can't exactly see a reflection, and I'm pretty sure in the PS5 I've seen reflections through mirrors. But if that's what separates PS5 and Switch 2, oh no. Let's go ahead and start with a story, where you start with Grace, and she's a completely new character to the Resident Evil franchise. And I'm convinced, I think, she has like asthma or some kind of breathing problem, because this lady cannot move 6 feet without absolutely gasping for air. Now I will say, Grace Ashcroft is absolutely nothing like Leon Walk 'em Down Kennedy, or Ethan Save the Franchise Winters. But towards the end of the game, she actually really grew on me, and she was actually a really interesting character. Once you get introduced to Grace Ashcroft, you realize she's an FBI agent. As you learn her backstory, it's kind of depressing. I mean, it is Resident Evil, so it does make sense, but yikes. During a briefing, you're told about Grace's mother, who passed away like 5 years ago, in a hotel room that they were staying, and it burnt down. And guess what Grace's first mission is? You guessed it, go back to that hotel. There's something up with it. Once you get to the hotel, this is where Resident Evil really shines. The creepy ambiance, the dilapidated wood, the fire damage. There might not be an enemy nearby, but with all of that going on, you're always thinking, is there? There was a point in time where the wind just gusted and the curtain like flew open, and I just stopped. I was like, no, I don't like that very much. And my wife was like, you're a baby. It was kind of rude. With Grace in the hotel, you start as the survival horror aspect of the game, where when you play as Leon, it's survival horror. It's just for the zombies. If you hear a 40-year-old guy just cracking the most terrible jokes you've ever heard in your entire life and you're a zombie, I'm pretty sure you'd be walking the other direction too. This hotel is kind of the starting area of the game, right? It's just kind of the tutorial of, okay, this is how you use Grace Ashcroft. But really, this is only like the beginning. This only purpose is to introduce you to the main bad character in the game, or the main villain, I guess you could say. Yeah, he's weird. Like, why does he look like that? I mean, you'll understand why later in the game, but like towards the beginning of the game, I was like, man, you're kind of just ugly. Grace gets kidnapped, whatever. She's gone. You're Leon now. The main story, the main attraction of the entire game, right? You see Grace across the street, and he's like, oh yeah, I should probably do something about that. Then old boy, ugly boy that I was just mentioning, just shoots random civilians with like, I don't know if it was the T virus or whatever it was, but it basically makes them zombies. And Leon has to get his way past the zombies. And I mean, if you're Leon, you might as well use Leon. So, I mean, you got to do all these cool things. I mean, you're Leon, right? I mean, like, while you're Leon, there's a couple cool new mechanics that are introduced in the game. In Resident Evil 4, you were able to parry, but your knives kept breaking and they weren't reliable. Well, in this game, you now have a hatchet, and you're able just to sharpen it. The name of this game, Resident Evil Requiem, or Resident Evil 9. The Requiem is a gun. I didn't realize that. I just might be ill-informed, but this thing packs a punch. I will say, the ammo is very scarce, so definitely don't just waste on 2 normal zombies that are approaching you. That would probably not be a good idea. Once you play as Leon for about 5 minutes, you're then booted off to Grace again, and you wake up in this insane asylum or hospital or testing center that Gideon is in. And basically, he's testing your blood. At this point in time, you don't know what it is, but he's just testing your blood. And this is where you're introduced to the Roamer boss, which is kind of a little creepy until you get to later in the game, but I'll mention that later. But towards the beginning part of this game, this thing is super creepy, and the only way to avoid it is to be inside light. In this beginning section of the game, it's kind of like you're bouncing back from Grace to Leon to Grace to Leon. But towards the middle section of the game, you're pretty much one character for an extended amount of time. We then switch back to Grace, and this is her main gameplay. You're going to be here for the next however long you want this to take. If you're a completionist and want every single item, it might take a little longer. If you don't care and you just want to get through the story, you could probably get it done in a couple hours. There's a couple things that you'll start to notice when roaming around with Grace. The very first thing that you'll start to notice is these zombies haven't lost all their minds. For example, you will see some zombies with their hobbies that they had when they were human. We have a maid who's constantly cleaning the mirror, saying it's not clean. There's a bellhopper who has to keep the lights off at all times, or else he will get upset. Lastly, and could be most terrifying, is the chef, or the cook. He is absolutely gigantic, and he's constantly just making meals, saying, no, that's not right. Every single one of these zombies have a trace of that human that they were before the infection started to hit. Other than the workers turning into zombies, there's a couple cool new mechanics that I've not ever seen in a Resident Evil game before. Grace is able to collect the blood, and with that blood, she's able to craft different items. Some of those items include bullets or med injectors, but they also can have permanent upgrades, like focusing your shot better to make zombies fall more easy, or just completely upping your health for the rest of the game. A new injector that I thought was pretty cool utilizes your stealth. If you're able to inject a zombie with this med injector, they completely explode. I'm not going to sit here and spoil everything for you, but this section was actually really fun and really enjoyable to play as Grace. At this point in the game, I was getting close to about 10 hours or so. And from what I've heard, I heard the game was about 12. Now, I was taking my time in this, but I figured, okay, I'm already almost done with the game, and I've only played as Grace. After a pretty fun helicopter ride, and in no way dangerous to any of the species around, you get to be Leon again. But at this point in time, you only get to be Leon for like 5 minutes, and then you cut right back to Grace. It's like that episode on Disney Channel with Kickin' It, and you see Kyrie Irving as like the main superstar that's on the show, and then he's gone in like 2 minutes. It feels like, oh, I finally get to be Leon, and they snatch it away from me. And in no way am I complaining that I have to be Grace the whole time. Grace is a very enjoyable character. But if you have Leon and you're using a sniper rifle and you're just plucking them out from way far away, I felt super cool at that point in time. And then I had to be Grace again. I think you would understand how I feel. There's a couple more things I want to talk about before ending this review. And one of them I mentioned earlier was that roamer boss that Grace had to deal with. And Grace has this whole section of trying to avoid this boss, going into different rooms, everything like that, trying to take power from one area, throwing it into the other. She jumps out at you, all these things. One, no matter how much my wife said it, I did not scream like a little baby. It's not something I would do. So I don't even know why you would even stop asking me, because I didn't do it. Second, as soon as you figure out the mechanic of the boss, she's not really that scary at all. In fact, if you turn a light on and you just stand there, she's not going to attack you in the slightest. I turned the light on and I stood there and I heard her like over my shoulder, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get got, but I didn't. And I turned the light on and I turned around and she's over here like hiding her eyes. And I just literally stare at her as she just walks. And I'm like, this is what I've been afraid of this entire time. This thing that is just walking away from me. The entire rest of the game, you are Leon. So all my complaints of not being able to have Leon on screen, completely out the window. And what a better storyline than going back to where it all started, in Raccoon City. There are so many things I want to talk about while playing Leon, but simply I'm getting to my 10 to 12 minute mark and I'm kind of just rambling at this point in time. Fighting enemies in this section with Leon is super satisfying. They give him an absolute arsenal to do whatever you want with. Leon's starter weapons are good for what they are, but this game allows you to purchase new weapons and upgrade those as you go along with this section of the story. Again, I wanted to remind you, I'm playing on the Switch too, but some of these scenes behind me, you would really question what I'd be playing on. There's honestly a ton of content while playing as Leon, and I want to say I ended up playing as Leon more than I did as Grace. The last section of this game, while you're playing as Leon, makes you feel like you're in an action-packed movie. The fear you were feeling beforehand while playing as Grace is long gone. While you are in Raccoon City, you go back to the police station that you were in Resident Evil 2, and Leon has some reminiscing to do.
It's on you now.
The police station is absolutely in ruin from the nuke that was dropped quite a while ago. But there's still some things in the police station that remain the same. The Welcome Leon banner is still there. The offices where all the deputies are still there. The car jack, for whatever reason, has stayed strong and is still there. Some old faces return to this game franchise, who I won't spoil all of them, but a couple of them I was like, this guy again? But after quickly disposing of, there's a couple other characters that I was like, oh, I don't think Leon's even met them yet. The way this story progresses is super satisfying. From being fearful of Grace and having to sneak around everywhere, then to being Leon and just shooting your way out of anything you can think of. Resident Evil did a phenomenal job of Resident Evil 9. This is one of the better Resident Evil games I've played. And I don't know if it's just because it's more modern or because the characters just really grew on me. I'm not going to talk about the ending except for one thing. You can choose what ending you want. I had an absolute blast playing Resident Evil Requiem and cannot recommend it enough for those who are able to play it. Again, I was able to play it on the Switch too because my local library had it. This game was absolutely incredible, but I should probably wrap up my review because it's been a little bit since I've seen sunlight. So I'm going to wrap this up. If you did like it, please let me know down in the comments. Please like it. I'm still on my journey of editing, so this whole video was shot for the purpose of my editing skills. I think I worked on my zoom a little bit, but let me know down in the comments what you think, and hopefully I can send out another review sometime soon. Right now I'm playing Pokemon Pokopia, whatever you want to call it, but I'm having a good time on that. So hopefully within the next month or so, should be able to have a video out on that as well. But yes, Resident Evil 9,
phenomenal game. And I hope you enjoyed the review. See you next time.